Poverty is a choice. And give me a chance to explain to you before you rush off and get upset and get angry at me for saying what I've said. But if you picture this in anything that you do in life, you definitely bear responsibility of what happens to you in your life. You have played a part and you've played a role somehow to end up in the situation that you are in. I'm not saying that because I'm rich, I'm not saying that because I'm wealthy, but those who are considered poor, and I'm saying this because I grew up from poverty. I grew up with it. I understand and I've been there. I've lived the life and I have the experience and I have the right to say it that poverty is a choice. I'm gonna make this analogy. Picture this house, okay? If you look at that house, everything that is used to build that house is not bought. Nothing that is used to build this house is bought. Everything is readily available in the bush. These people go out in the bush and cut down trees and have the poles to build the house, and also have the poles to use for the roof, and also cut grass in order to thatch that house, and also use clay and mud to plaster the house. Nothing is bought. But here is the thing. Somebody chooses to go out there and cut down small little poles and build a small little structure which is not strong enough, which is not even big enough to accommodate their own families and stuff. But somebody else goes into the same forest. Nobody owns those trees. You are more than welcome to cut as much as you want, as big as you want, and build a house as big as you want. Somebody else goes into the same forest and cut down strong trees, build a big house of the same material. That is a choice, my friend. You can feel sorry for the guy who is staying in the small little house, which is weak and not strong enough to protect them against bad weather, and God forbid, bad weather comes and they are affected. You can feel sorry for them. That's part of humanity, but it is their choice. The resources were available. Everything was fair to everyone here. There was no one who was at a better start or whatever. But the other one chose to be lazy and not build a good and big house that will fit their family needs. And let's take it a step further. You look at this house that I'm going to use as the second analogy. This house is even better than the previous one built of poles. This house, nothing also is bought. People in the rural areas, they can lay their own bricks out of the clay that is readily available. They can make bricks and bend them and prepare them and use them to build a proper house such as that one that you see, and also get the poles from the bush and get the grass from the forest. But somebody else chooses not to lay bricks and build a house of bricks. They choose to use poles, and they choose the small poles, and then they choose to build a very small one because they are lazy. So it is not anybody else's fault. In as much as we all know, yes, not everyone is a builder. If we are talking about building with bricks, but if you are a hard worker enough, I've been there and I understand it and I know it very well, that if you are a hard worker enough, you will be able to get someone else to build the house for you. But you can still lay the bricks yourself, you can still cut the poles yourself, you can still gather the grass yourself. Women and children in the villages can lay bricks. So there's absolutely no excuse for not having a proper house and a proper lifestyle. But because it is a choice, people choose to live poor, people do things that will lead them into a life of misery and poverty. Okay, let's bring it to the towns. You always see homeless people in the towns. In America, in the United Kingdom, and in certain other countries, some countries in Africa. Think of it. Let's picture this. Okay? Let's give an example of the United States of America. An illegal immigrant comes from a different country. They don't have an ID. They don't have access. They don't have legal access to banks. They can't open bank accounts. They barely even, they cannot get a proper job. They cannot get a proper education. All they can do is just work all these menial jobs, jobs that people don't want to do. They would have a lifestyle. They would not be living in the street. But somebody who is a citizen, who have a citizenship, who have access to all these things that the state has to offer, they end up homeless. Surely that's a choice. There is nothing that can justify that. Surely that is your choice because you don't want to do certain things in order not to be homeless. If you look at people who are living in shanty towns and dirty houses, the excuse is, of course, we are poor, that's why we don't have this and we don't have that. But to be honest, poverty does not mean dirty. It doesn't mean that you have to live dirty. With that you have, you can live clean. You can clean whatever the house that you have. You can clean those clothes that you have. But you see these people living in dirty environments that they are polluting themselves. Think about it. In Rwanda, it is illegal to throw papers in the street. If you are caught throwing papers in the street, there are different types of punishment, including fines and others maybe that are not aware of. And people do not throw litter. Kigali is one of the cleanest cities in the whole world. Before we even talk about service delivery by the government, by the municipality to come and clean the cities and the towns, already the laws are people do not mess the place first. And it is clean because people are not messing first. Here's what we do as a people. We throw trash in the streets and make them dirty in the environments that we live in. And then tomorrow morning, we go in the streets and protest that there is no service delivery and poor service delivery because municipality is not cleaning the streets and people are not coming to collect the trashes, blah, 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 blah. But in the first place, who messed that street? It was you and me. And after that, after we were not responsible, we messed the environments that we live in and we messed the streets that we use every single day. Now we go and protest and expect and say, government must come and clean for us. That kind of thinking is really reverse thinking. That there's no logic. It's illogical because we as a people, we are not taking responsibility of our environments and of ourselves. Yes, you can give a lot of excuses and we can complain and point fingers, but some of the poverty that we have, especially as black people, it is because of us. It is caused by us. We are causing ourselves to be poor. There is nobody else to blame but ourselves. And we should take the responsibility in order to fix that. Because if we don't take the responsibility, we will never fix it. And we'll die and lumber in poverty and complain and whine every single day and point fingers at other people while it's we are the problem.